Hi everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to a new Splitcoaststampers tutorial. I'm so glad you're spending some time here with me today. I'm going to go over everything that I used on my wall hanging. You can see that I made a wall hanging for you. There's a lot of stamping and a lot of die cuts, so I've gone ahead and done those ahead of time. So I'm going to go over everything I'm using. And you know that you can substitute with anything that I use, anything close or totally different. The idea is how to create the 3D wall hanging and then you decorate it as you like. I'm using Stampin' Up! Season of Chick stamp set along with the Chick dies. Now those, I have 2 magnet sheets here that show you all the shapes. So let me go ahead and show you what I have stamped and cut ahead of time. I have this large background layer and also the 3 flowers. Now these are with Berry Burst cardstock. The 4 leaves are Lemon Lime Twist cardstock, and then basic white with the 3 snowflakes. And for my stamped images, now let me bring in the ink colors that I used. I did not photograph those ahead of time, because as I said, you guys can substitute whatever you want. I have Versamark ink, Gray Granite, Boho Blue, Orchid Oasis, Bubble Bath, and Pecan Pie. For the Versamark, I actually will show that in a little bit. I used it on the sentiment. So the 4 flowers, I did Bubble Bath and Orchid Oasis, and I did 2nd generation stamping so you could get the lighter colors. So the outline is full force with the ink, and by 2nd generation, that means you stamp on scrap paper first, then again on your image, and it gives it a lighter color. The snowflake is Boho Blue on basic white. The leaves are Pecan Pie. Again, I stamped twice on this one, 1st generation, 2nd generation for the lighter ink color. And then the shell is Gray Granite cardstock with Gray Granite ink. And then all of these are cut with the coordinating dies. And then this is where the Versamark ink comes in on my sentiment. I stamped it with the Versamark, sprinkled with white embossing powder, and heated with the heat tool to melt the powder. This is Berry Burst. And let me give you the measurements. So this one is 5.5 by 1. This is the Masterfully Made designer paper, a little bit longer at 6 by 1. And then these are the pieces we are going to need to create our wall hanging. Now these are all cardboard pieces that I cut using the cardboard. You always get 12 by 12 cardboard in with your designer paper. This is the thicker stuff, not just the white thinner stuff. Almost like a chipboard. So you're going to need 6 pieces that measure 8 by 2, and then 2 pieces that measure 4 by 2. Then 3 pieces of the Masterfully Made designer paper 8 by 2. So let me go ahead and start by showing you how to assemble our wall hanging. Let me just make some room here. So we're going to take 3 of these. I wanted them to be really, really thick. So we're going to add liquid glue to all 3. And we're going to double these up. That'll make the wall hanging so much thicker and it will not warp on you. So then we just go ahead and glue these together, press down. So we're going to do this 3 times. And then I'm going to show you while this dries. I'm just going to put these here and stick my hand on them. I'm going to show you the wall hanging. I did 2 different ways for you because what I did for the holes, I used a crocodile And I thought for those of you that do not have, because you're going through 2 thicknesses of cardboard. If you don't have one of these, instead of hanging it like this, I'll flip it over. You can glue a ribbon on the back like this instead. So you have both options. Today I'm going to show you how I did this one. And now I'm going to flip this over to show you. We're going to actually take these. We're going to stagger. I'm just making sure that's about even. And then I'm going to bring my ruler in. I want the 2 outside ones to be the same. Now we're going to take these. These are going to hold everything together. Okay, let me just put this against here to make sure everything's even. Nice and tight. I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to line that just like that. Put the other one about the same distance on the top and bottom. I'm just going to hold this down just for a few seconds. And normally, if I wasn't filming a video, what I would normally do is put something heavy like a punch on each of these. But I think this will give me enough time that I can now flip this over. And there are my pieces. Now we're going to add liquid glue to all 3 of these again, because now we're going to glue the designer paper. And you guys, you can use any designer paper, any sentiments, any die cuts, stamped images. Now these are directional because there's some text on the background, so I just need to make sure that they're not upside down. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those. Just make sure, right there. See how easy this is? So there's number 2. You could even take a sandpaper or sanding block and sand the edges to give it a more rustic look. But for today, this is all I'm going to do. Okay, so there's our 3 pieces. Now we're going to start assembling all of the die cuts and stamped images. I'm going to start with this one. And that's going to go about an inch from the bottom. And I'm making sure it's centered. Then we're going to use dimensionals to glue the sentiment down. Let me see, I didn't redo the sentiment. You make each season of life even more beautiful. And as you'll notice, the stamp set and die cuts that I'm using has pretty much every season. We get the leaves for fall, the snowflakes for winter, we've got flowers, leaves. So all 4 seasons are depicted in my little wall hanging. So now I'm just going to peel all of these back. And the rest of this is going to go quickly because I have everything done up ahead of time. Now I'm going to stagger this about halfway over the designer paper. And then the ribbon I am using is from the Ribbon Duo Combo. There's 2 that come with this. This is the Lemon Lime Twist one. And these are the 5 in color twines that I'm using. This is also Lemon Lime Twist. I'm going to use this one first to wrap around my wall hanging twice. And then I'm going to tie a bow to the left. I'm just going to scrunch these together. I'll just move it around once I'm all done. Okay, there's my bow. I'm just going to make these a little smaller. And then pull tight, nice and snug. Let's go ahead and cut the ribbon, the twine. Okay, now I just want to make sure this is all lined up. Okay, there's my twine. Now we're going to start assembling. Now all of the stamped images, I'm going to bring those in first. These are all glued in place with dimensionals. But the first part that I glued down was this big background layer. I'm just going to add liquid glue. And I'm going to press this in place at an angle, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is just add one dimensional to each of these, because you can see a lot of the things, the layers are tucked in behind. So I'm just going to add one dimensional so I can tuck. And I'm going to start out with the shell. So this is a lot of fun. It's just kind of, it's almost like a big puzzle once you decide where you want to put everything. And it's easy for me right now because I've already made one of these. As you can see, I turned the orientation around just to show you a little bit of a difference. It's going to turn out the same. And let's see, we've got orchid. Now this one, I know that I had to, in order to tuck, I had to cut this flat on the bottom, and then it nicely tucked in there. And then we've got the bubble bath. We've got another orchid oasis. And then I've got the darker leaf and the second generation leaf. And now let me bring in all of the die cuts. And you can see this would make a great gift. I love making gifts like this to give out to special people in my life. Now I'm just tucking all of the leaves in place. Let me see, I gotta do the snowflake first. I'm gonna tuck that behind. Then we're going to add the leaf. And I got to a point where I had to stop myself from just gluing stuff down because you can get carried away. I just kept adding and adding. Now, where's my little one? You could do this for a holiday, a birthday even. Okay, now let me move on to the flowers. And we've got one of the smaller leaves. So you can see once you have everything cut out and you kind of have an idea where you want to stick stuff, it comes together very quickly. What I had done, let me cut this a little bit. What I had done is kind of positioned everything before I glued them down just to get an idea where I wanted to stick everything. And it made it quite easy that way. Okay, we got two more flowers and I have glue all over my fingertips. I can just feel it. Got another flower down here. And before I add the sequins, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did the ribbon. So I'm going to turn this upside down and I need a pencil. I'm going to go about 1 inch and then 1/2 inch down. So there's that one. 1 inch and 1/2 inch. And now I'm going to bring in my crocodile. And I'm going to actually use this one right here. I'm going to close it just to show you. It makes a big notch. And you can actually see the pencil mark right in. Wait a minute, I got a piece of cardstock in here. Maybe I can get it out. There we go. So I'm going to look right in that hole. Find my pencil mark, and it easily punched through both layers. It's a great tool to have. Stampin' Up! Used to sell these, but we don't anymore. I got this at a hobby store. You just have to make sure your hole is clear so you can see where you are punching. Okay, I've got my 2 holes. Now I'm going to bring in my ribbon. I'm going to thread that through the back. And then I'm just going to make some knots until the knot is big enough so it doesn't come through that hole. So this is 3 knots. Let's see if that works. Okay. And I'm going to just kind of eyeball. I'm not even measuring, and I'm going to do extra for the knot. Thread that through again. And we're going to make 3 more knots. There's 2 and 3. And what you can also do is use your liquid glue and just put some on the outer edge like this, so that when you pull it through, there will be some glue hanging on to that. So let me go ahead and do that. So there's my hanger. And lastly, we're going to add the sequins. Now I am using the pastel adhesive back sequins from Stampin' Up! They come in 2 sizes. So I'm just gonna add wherever I feel there are blank spots that need some bling. Now this one's gonna be a little different because I use the opposite orientation of my the cardboard. So I'm just going to add some here and there. This is a wall hanging, so we want to add a lot of bling. And don't forget, if you create one of these, I can't wait to see what you create, but don't forget to add it to the Splitcoaststampers album that will be mentioned in the text at the end of this video. Okay, let's see. I think I need 1 more right here. So there is my wall hanging. So you can see that I used the 2 different orientations, and by that I mean the way that the middle section sticks out. So you can decide which way you want yours to go. And if you feel that it's not long enough, you could always add another cardboard and make it a 4-panel wall hanging. So I hope you enjoyed my project. Thanks so much, Splitcoaststampers, for inviting me to do another project with you. Have a good day, everyone, and I'll see you in a couple months with another project. Bye-bye.